Good morning, traders and investors. This is Joel Elkanah, and welcome to Benzinga's pre-market info show, brought to you by OptionsHouse. Jojo, how you doing this morning?
Oh, I'm pretty good today. How are you, Joel?
Good. Did you have an exciting Tuesday night? Watch some basketball?
Well, actually, no, I did not. But Dina made some delicious homemade wonton soup out
Oh,
of Costco chicken and cilantro pot stickers.
that sounds good. Well, we had a big birthday
That's right.
celebration.
You
Yeah?
sure did. Wait, was it Emily?
Nope.
Dana,
No.
Lisa.
Nope.
Well, I know it wasn't yours.
Yeah, Perry's. It was my dog Perry.
My dog Perry. That sounds like a sitcom.
Then that's Perry with an I.
Perry with an I. Well, so Perry Princess Elkanan.
Right in there, baby. You got it. Perry Princess turned 6 years old, so we had to have a little birthday celebration, and Lisa wanted to take her to the pet store. She went through the pet store, going through all the aisles, just like going crazy. Like I think she wore her nose out.
Come on.
Yeah, sniffing, and we bought her a couple treats and stuff, and it was a
Wow.
big, yeah.
So
it was a,
6, that's what, middle age. She's 42 in people years.
I don't like to think about that. I want to keep Perry around as long as possible.
Does your dog have a better life than most people?
For sure, man. Lisa spoils that thing. It's unbelievable. But do you got any pets, Joe?
Well, not exactly, and it's kind of a touchy subject. But speaking of PetSmart, have you ever seen someone try to walk into the store with their cats on a leash?
I hate cats.
Yeah, well, cats don't lead.
Cats are a lot smarter animal than
Cats are
dogs.
wonderful,
Come
and
on.
I've had dogs and I've had cats. I really enjoy having cats. I think they're great, but they do not do well on leashes. So
It's like what do they say on Meet the Parents? Cats don't sell out like dogs. They don't sell out
They
for their
don't sell
affection like that. Dog will just do, oh yeah, my owner's home. Blah, 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 blah. The cat makes you earn the affection. They're a little bit more. They don't sell out like dogs.
cats
That's
cats
what-
are like the Academy Award winning celebrity, whereas dogs are more like the hipster musician of
And
the.
cats are a low maintenance pet. That's what I like about them.
Yeah, that's cool,
You can just
too.
leave them for 2-3 days, and they don't have to get walked and get outside to go to the bathroom every 4 hours.
They're
so.
actually just happy that you're gone, and they get the place to themselves.
Is that why you think they're smarter animals, Dennis? Because you can just leave them go by themselves?
Maybe it's the lazy factor that I like better. That
That
the owner
does-
can be lazier.
I don't know. It
I
doesn't
always
seem
had
fair.
goldfish when I was a kid. They'd always die because I'd forget to feed them. So
Yeah.
at least with a cat, you just put out a lot of food, and if you forget to feed it for a day or two, it'll
Yeah.
usually meow at you.
So if you're looking for a if you're looking for a pet sitter, Options House listeners, don't hire Dennis unless you want the animal to die.
No, I don't know if I'd kill them, but I think the goldfish struggles because it can't really let you know that it's hungry. I guess it could have flapped a little bit more.
You
or
could
something.
swim
Nah.
faster.
At least the dog will bark or the cat will meow or something. But let's digress over here into the market. Speaking of dogs, cats, holy cow, some of these dogs, Joel, have been barking. We talked about a few of them a few weeks ago here, Alcoa, but JC Penney here. This run just continues here. It's continuing here this morning as well. This was a $6 stock a month and a half ago. It's 10.34 here now. Same store sales, Brent, you got those? On JC
Absolutely
Penney?
got those. Let me pull it up real quick. We got last night reported November same-store sales up 10.1%. JCPenney says e-commerce sales consistent with last month's trend. And I was looking at the press release. The press release title was notable. They were given an update, provides holiday update. That was the title of the press release.
And this thing is trading like crazy. 1.2 million shares already traded just this morning here. Joel, what are the after hours? It really popped after hours, but then gave a lot of it back. How high did we get?
10.86.
1086.
Yeah,
So-
yep. And then since then, I'm not sure what that spike down to 10.10 was, but just to get a better eye of what's going on in the pre-market here, you are starting to get some resistance ahead of the 10.86 level. Looks like someone has a little bit of opinion here in the 10.60s. We've got up there a few times overnight, and when Dennis got up at 4 o'clock in the morning to start shorting this. So resistance 10.60, 10.65. Getting a lot of support here at the 1020 level. Now, there's a lot of volume here, Dennis, so we talk about that on multiple occasions when you see pre-market moves
Yeah.
that are validated by volume. Now, the reason I like this kind of formation here is that even if I'm buying it at 1034 here, really not that much of a gap up. Yesterday's high was 1022, so I think that 1017 to 1022 area is going to be excellent support here, breaking out of the double top. And now you're going up here. You're getting into a slippery slope, Dennis, because you really don't have any major resistance on the books until 1122. That was a high on September 26th.
Yeah, we got a key breakout here, Joel. Like you kind of had a triple top formation
Yep.
at 1021, 1022, 1017. We are trading above that. We've obviously been a lot higher after hours. We've just traded 200,000 shares since we started talking about this thing. This thing is trading the most active stock definitely here in the pre-market right now. Just crazy trading. Yeah, it seems like a breakout. As long as this thing can hold above $10 here, the bulls I think are still in charge on this JC Penney story. You know, it is a story. It's come back here, at least from the stock perspective, anyways. But no stocks go straight to zero. We know that. Check out this chart. I was looking yesterday after hours, and I was looking at Rite Aid, and RAD is a $6 stock. When did that happen? Last time I looked at this thing was like a $4 stock. And back in the financial crisis, this stock was a 20-cent stock, basically going out of business. Everybody had it for dead. And here it is. It's come back, slow, steady grind, and really accelerated here in the last 7 or 8 trading sessions from $5. It's basically up 20% here in the last 5 sessions, or 5 or 6 sessions.
Yeah, and it's trading above another level here. 610, 614 were your highs from Monday and Tuesday. We are trading above those levels as we speak here in the pre-market. Have made a 618 high. This stock hasn't seen this stratosphere. I mean, oh boy, I don't even know if the monthlies are going to do us justice on this one here. Let's take a look at the monthlies. I mean, if that's not a bullish looking chart, I don't know what is. Look at that, this thing, the old 12-year rounding bottom trick, and now it's now it's turning up. You have to go back on the monthlies here to find resistance, and going back during July of 2007, you had a high at 645. So for you RAD bulls, that could be the next stopping point. Just keeping an eye on what's going on in the daily here. 610, 614, double top breaking above it. Should act as support. If not, we come back and test the $6 level.
It's a dangerous strategy to come in these, dogs and pick bottoms and in stocks that, obviously, haven't performed well in the last couple of years, and all of a sudden, but some of them are starting to get a bid here. I'm looking at the chart of Radio Shack here. This is a stock that fundamentally does not look good. The story's bad, but like we said, the story's been bad with JCPenney. It's been rallying here too. What do you think of this Radio Shack chart, RSH? Because it's had the move off the 260 area, got up over $3. It's consolidated here, but kind of put in a double bottom here in the last 2 days between 281 and 284. And just because all these other dogs are barking, I wonder if this thing could reclaim the $3, that this one could start moving up here too. And this would be a trade, definitely not an investment, because who knows? And that's a dangerous thing, I guess. They could always come up bad fundamental news and think it get killed, because I don't think the fundamentals are that great at Radio Shack. But just for a trade, I wonder if it could start finding some buyers.
I mean, this is one you could put in your hip pocket. I mean, you had 3 lows between 281 and 286. Call that a triple bottom. You're buying it here at 290, 293. Put a 20-cent stop in there at the 270 level. There was multiple lows at 271, 273. Throw it there, 20 cents. Then you get a break above the $3 level, and it's always those key levels like JCPenney was struggling with 10, and they finally got out of 10, inched into that. Then you get a little fundamental news that moves it up. If you're waiting to buy this thing on strength, which is really not a good idea in these kind of stocks, you kind of want to pick them up on the cheap. Multiple highs from 306 to 309, so call the whole 310 area. You'd want to, if you're buying it at 290, you're risking 20 cents. You surely like to get more of that. But once it gets above 310, you get a couple closes above there. You could get a nice ride up, perhaps all the way to 3.25.
And we talked about Alcoa a few days ago. I know you were writing me that we had some bet there, but I'm not sure who won that bet or not.
Well, we never made the bet. You chickened out.
What was the bet? What were you offering
Okay,
me on the
here's
bet
the
on
bet.
Anka?
Here's the
Okay,
bet.
all right.
Okay, this is the day that Goldman Sachs
Yep.
upgraded it,
Yep.
and you were like, "Oh, it's going to $10. It's going to $10." And I'm like, Alcoa doesn't gap up 30 cents and then not
Yeah,
come
but I
back.
didn't
It
say
filled it.
$10 that day. There's no way. I said $10. I said I was going to see 10 before 9. I remember what I said. 10
Okay.
before
Now,
9.
I don't want to get on an argument on the air. We can get an argument off the air.
I think
But
an argument on the air would be much more entertaining.
no, you were just like, "Oh, Goldman Sachs
Oh,
upgraded
you
it.
make
I
Dennis
got it."
sound like such a wuss, Joel.
I can't short it. No, I think it was something. It was
I
the
would.
follow through, and I was expecting it to come down and fill the gap. It's a nickel away from there. I'd be patient, fill the gap at 927. Then you buy it. You put your stop in under 9. You forget about it.
I still think with the dogs barking here that this still sees $10 before $9. It's trade 9.48 in the pre-market, so I'm sticking to my original bet, which I think it was, which I'm saying 10 before 9. I might be wrong on that one, but if the dogs all keep barking here, Alcoa could bark too. AMD is another one here I was just looking at. It's consolidated here, but it's had a nice little run. Had 3 days of consolidation. Yesterday kind of had an outside trading range. Was made a new high and a new low. What do you think of this AMD chart?
You know who nailed this one? And I'll go back and check the archives, see when we had Tim Melvin on. But we were talking about this stock with him, and he thought that there was some potential. I think he was on a couple weeks ago, maybe when it was still around the $3 level. I mean, you can't argue with the technical formation there, Dennis. Three highs, 368 to 371. That's a triple top. You're starting to get into that gap area, so use that as a resistance here, but you get a closer to above 370, and we could be sailing up very slowly up to the $4 level. Got a nice gap to fill there. I believe that was an earnings miss.
And the dog of last year, Hewlett Packard, has been the star of this year, and that continues here in this morning. Jim Cramer on Mad Money last night, pumping the hash. Here's the stock, had a big gap after off their earnings report, I believe that was. Big gap up. 4 days of consolidation here. Now we are trying to break out to the upside. I think this thing could continue to see some money flow into it today, and I wouldn't be surprised if this thing does take out 28.
Was that big up day? Was that an earnings day or something? Did it really? It opened up at 2682. Did it really get back down to 2509? Do you remember that, Dennis? That was 4 trading sessions ago.
I don't think so. I don't think it traded
No,
back down at all. I
either
think it
do
was up the
I.
whole time. I know it
Yeah,
looks like the gap's full. I think there's a gap in that chart though.
yeah,
I think it
yeah.
opened up there and ran.
Because I have it on
So
my
I see
TradeStation
what you
chart
mean.
too.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think it was gap. It was a gap and go. I do not think that
Yeah,
filled that gap that
I'll
day.
have to
So
check another charting system here. But kudos to another one of our guests. I believe it was Tim Collins and Bob Byrne. That I believe it was that day when the earnings came out, and they whispered something that the street likes to hear. You know what it is?
what's that?
3D. 3D. Yep,
3D.
3D printing, and and I like what they said. It wasn't even the fact that they have any 3D printers; is that they were thinking of going into 3D printing, and we know what those stocks have done. Triple D, and then I always get the symbol wrong.
SSYS.
SSYS. There we go.
That's
I had problems
slow
with
for you.
S's and F's when I was in elementary school. I had to go to speech class with Mrs. Fish. But uh, those stocks have rallied, and then just the chatter of it's keeping it going. But looking at Hewlett Packard here, without looking at that gap and go there, we'll see if there's resistance. What do you like to create? Do you like the fade Kramer, or are you gonna go with them on this one?
I'm not. I don't know if I'm going to go with them or not here, but I wouldn't fade this either. Sit on my hands and get a little bit of a pullback. Say the stock pulls back for whatever reason to 27.70, 27.65. Maybe I'll try to pick some up because I think it's consolidated here for 4 days. I think people were looking for an excuse to buy this thing again. That's what I think. And Kramer might have just gave them an excuse here last night. Sometimes the Kramer fade works pretty well, but in this case here, there's been a lot of volume. I watched the volume after hours last night when he was talking. It was absolutely insane. So I do believe this could see some follow through here today. So I'm a buyer of pullbacks on this just for a trade here. Again, I'm not sold on the Hewlett Packard fundamental story. Although, I wasn't sold on the Best Buy fundamental story either, and that keeps just going straight up. So, uh,
We can discuss this one from a perspective, kind of a little bit would have to do with our information arbitrage webinar we're doing tomorrow. Now you're coming up to the $28 level. Haven't been in 28, and I don't know how long you hit 27.96 in the pre-market a few times. You
yeah.
think there's some size kicking around there at 28? I mean, we haven't been up there in a long time. You think it's going to be a little bit of a HFT fest at the $28 level, gapping up 43 cents, and you think this got enough volume? To figure out. And Brent, could you find out why the market's going to zero here? I mean, we are crashing here.
Joel's got a big smile on his face with
Yeah,
this
yeah,
market going
yeah.
down right now. You still got those puts?
I still got those puts. I actually
Still
followed
got
through on
those
my
puts. We're down
execution here.
6.5 now.
Yeah, we are going
We're
through.
moving.
I
Yeah,
got it. You guys
Actually
ready?
right now,
yeah.
yeah.
What's the news?
ADP employment change was out 1 minute ago. November reading 215,000 employment. That means the market goes down, right?
Yeah, because you know what that means. They're going to taper today.
Taper today.
Yep.
Day.
We are on support though, folks. 1786 and a quarter. That was the low for yesterday. So don't be surprised you get a little bounce from this area. But sorry to interrupt you, Dennis. You were talking about the size at 28, and
Yeah, I don't actually see any size at 28, but it wouldn't surprise me if there is some institutions there, and it's probably why it's struggling here in the 90s. I do think it could take that out here today because it's just got enough volume here, enough players kicking around. And if it takes out 28, look for, what often happens, it'll take out 28, it'll take out the size, they'll go up to 28.05, 28.06, and then come down and shake some people out, comes back to 27.90. And sometimes that's the better play, is to actually buy the pullback after it does go through the key number.
we actually did
Because
get up to
everybody
this
wants to buy the
area.
breakout hours.
We did get up to this area back in August, got to 27.78. We hit 27.77 yesterday here. So Hewlett Packard, see if it can buck the trend of a very big down market and break out above the $28 level.
Let's go on here. EXPR, which is Express Inc., reported earnings. They missed 23 cents versus 25 cents. I believe the guidance was weak as well. And the stock is trading down almost $5 right now. This is your big loser of the day. It's down 19% on this earnings report.
Having a little problems with that one. I mean, doesn't it seem like if you just short all these teen apparel retailers that eventually they're going to come home? I mean, these things are just so volatile here.
Yeah.
They've just whooped this thing, taking it down in the pre-market here to 1975. Not even getting a little bit of a bounce here. Still trading at 1990. Got a little bit of a volume. I guess we have to go a little bit farther out here. Boy, this
August
thing.
low.
Oh boy, look at that. Oh my gosh. What August low are you looking at there?
1921. It's only 60 cents away from it, so I don't know. I think it could obviously see it today.
Yeah, I call that support. I mean, this is one of the issues. You want to keep an eye on the pre-market trading 927, 928. See what if you're looking to be a bottom picker. See where it is right at that time. See if it can hold and get a little bounce. I mean, this is quite a windfall for people that are short this stock because it was topping out there at the 2470 level, and here we are right back down 4 or 5 points. So if you were playing this short in the earnings, good for you, and see if it's a little bit too much in the pre-market.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd pick bottoms even on this one. These things seem like these apparel retailers start getting momentum to the downside, and it looks like it just continues. If you are picking a bottom, use a tight stop. Don't let this thing start taking out. And if you start buying at 19 and a quarter, I'd put a stop at like 19. This thing starts getting under 19 bucks. It just scares. It could continue to cascade down here because this has been a slow leak. Like when I came in earlier this morning, you got the pre-market chart there, Joel? Because
I'm having problems with this. I'm gonna
Okay.
have to talk to Oleg about
it was around
this.
21 bucks when I was looking at this morning. Now it's 1980. An hour later here, so it's a slow leak, which is scary too. It hasn't really found much support here in the pre-market. So
What do you
I'm
think a
scared to
big
pick bottoms on this
institution
one.
that owns this, Dennis? What do you think? They see this. And I'm sure there's some institutional holding. They come in, it's down $5. You think they're just puking here in the pre-market, or do you think they're? I mean, there's not a ton of volume. I mean, what would a big institution do that had a big holding in this? Buy more?
I don't know if they would or not. I think on some of these things, it depends on the type of company, obviously, too. I don't know what the institutional ownership looks like on Express, but I don't think they're in the pre-market dumping stock here. I think it's a lot of retail dumping stock. I think, there may be some dumping of the stock by institutions, but it's only 300,000 shares here traded. They're looking for it to stabilize, and they'll be looking to get out. That's why when a stock falls $4 or $5, especially, something small little company like this, it's very difficult for the stock to just all of a sudden come back because you do have institutions that are saying, look, this thing gets back up to 20, this thing gets back up to 21. I'm going to start dumping the position and get out of this thing. And that's why when stocks fall like this, it's hard for them to come back.
It's amazing that it's taking this time. Let's say if you go from April or May when this thing was at $19 and it chugged its way up all the way to
Yeah.
almost 25, and then boom, in one
One
trading,
bad earnings
yeah,
report
one bad earnings report, boy.
gives it all away. Also reporting earnings, little one CBK, which is Christopher and Banks. This thing hasn't traded here this morning, but the numbers were awesome. 23 cents. So if you like to trade little $6 stocks, 23 cents versus 11 cents, 118.1 million versus 117.95 million. This stock, 685 is bid right now. Best
Whew.
offers up at 745. We've got a pretty big breakout here on the chart because it was monster resistance at 650, and it looks like we are going to open up into that. $7 obviously is all air up to $7. I think you could see that today. Your major resistance for multiple reasons is probably going to be 750 on this thing. If you look at the chart, it struggled up there. Plus, that's where your calls and puts are on, is 752. I don't know what the open interest is on those 750s, but anybody that's gambling up there or has that, maybe hedging themselves in the market upwards of that price too. So I would say this thing probably opens around 7 and struggles if it does continue to run up in the 750 area.
Right, not a lot to look at as far as resistance up to that $7 area. I think with this one, I think as opposed to chasing it and buying it in the 680s, 690s, it's a New York stock here. Maybe if it opens up at like 680, 690, doesn't get that immediate follow through down to $7 level, maybe just get some nervous longs and they knock it down to that 650 level. They couple highs up there have been resistance for quite a while. Maybe you can get it on the cheap at 750, or 650 or 655, as opposed to chasing it. I wouldn't buy this thing at $7.
Yeah, I think maybe get it on a pullback a little bit too. Lots of key upgrades and downgrades today. Holy cow. We got Goldman Sachs taking Citi off its conviction list there, a conviction buy list, and downgrading the stock, and then they're putting USB on it. So obviously they're putting a little pair trade on here, it looks like. Downgrading Citi, upgrading USB.
Let's first take a look at the Citigroup chart here. We in the pre-market. That's a
Down
pretty big
60
call.
cents.
Yeah, that's a pretty big call for Goldman.
Big
Yeah,
call.
it is.
What are they
Yeah.
basing it on, Brent?
Let me see if I can pull up that report real quick.
5140 we hit in the pre-market. Got to bounce back up to the 5190 level. Now just stabilizing here. 5150, so 5140 to 5150. We'll keep an eye on that. Looking at the daily charts here, really no major support until you get under the $51 level. You had multiple lows between 50, what's that?
50.62.
Yeah, 50.62 to 50.80. I would look at the major support, but just to review, I mean, Goldman is influential. Things do happen. They came out with Groupon, remember that a couple days ago, and they pounded this thing. They got it down to 840. Remember that after
Yeah.
the earnings, and look at that, man. Kind of in your face, Goldman Sachs back over the $9 level. So there could be some short term moves and stuff here, but got to use the charts in the Citigroup here, and it's really until it takes out that major support at 50.60, 50.70. I'm not all over this one. And they upgraded USB, huh? USB.
Yeah, and USB is actually getting a good lift on this, 48 cents. It doesn't usually move around as much as Citi. Lower beta stocks. This is a big move here. This stock gets up anywhere near yesterday's high, 39.24. I think you're going to have a few happy sellers up there. And obviously the 52-week high at 39. 61 is major resistance up there. So I think in the entire 39 handle, I think you're going to find some sellers here. So I'm actually more prone to sell the USB upgrade as opposed to buy the city downgrade.
Bad day yesterday for U.S. Bancorp, and
Real bad, and you're
yeah,
getting it all back today. So if you're sitting there,
yeah,
you got
yeah.
your butt kicked around here yesterday being long this thing. All of a sudden you come and you got a gift here this morning. I don't know, man. I'd probably be taking some money off the table in 39 handle.
Also,
I'm looking at the Goldman note. It seems more or less like a valuation call, noting USB has underperformed during the past year. Large cap banks are up over 70% over the past 2 years, bringing P multiples back in line with history. While we continue to see upside as rates rise and GDP accelerates, we are more selective into 2014 as expense stories and credit leverage are largely priced in.
pop up in the pre-market, Dennis, did get to 39.50, and then we're right back at the.
Holy cow, I see those prints. That's crazy. I cannot believe they bought this up to 39.50. Somebody's absolutely insane.
And then you look at the daily, 39.24 was the high, but then from Tuesday's trading, but you did have some highs at 39.48, 39.61. So skeptical of this one. Love to see it get back 39.30, 39.40 area. And because that was a bad day yesterday, and it was a bad day on big volumes. So, maybe they didn't get enough of their piece off yesterday. They want a
Yeah.
little pop here, sell into it.
Yeah, I'm looking in the 39 handle with my sell finger on maybe. Maybe I can get a shot there in that 39.30, 39.40 area, but I don't know if we're going to get that high in the regular session. Also, upgrades and downgrades from Morgan Stanley on they are upgrading BBT. They are downgrading STI. So here's another brokerage doing a little bank pair trade here. I'm not sure if Brent's got the note on the Morgan Stanley, but BBT is bid up here at 34.51, closed at 34.29, just traded 34.59, so up 30 cents. STI offered down about 25 cents right now.
Bad day yesterday for BBT as
All the
well.
banks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yep. Now it's recovering. Yesterday's high 35.01, and then multiple highs in the $35 level. So institution looking around 35.
Oh
I
yeah.
would use that as actually you had five highs in a row between 35.04 and 35.11. So major resistance if it can go
Yep.
into rally mode. STI here. Let's take a look at that on the chart here. That was the one that was downgraded, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll see what's going.
35. There was a double bottom if you
Sun
look at it.
Trust
34.97, 35.02 from mid-November there. That's maybe one area of support. Below there, there's nothing.
35's got a hold on this thing.
35's got a hold.
Absolutely, 35. Little bit of support in the 34 handle. You did have a low at 34.34 and 34.13. So critical. Boy, I didn't look at these bank charts last night. These are kind of ugly.
Yeah, it's turned. It's turned in the banks, and that's why when I see a couple of banks upgraded, when the overall market sentiment on banks has been down for a few days, I see it as an opportunity to put on a short. So I'm not looking at picking bottoms in the STI. I'm not looking at picking bottoms in the city. I'm looking to sell that USB, and I'm looking to sell that BBT. That's what I'm doing. Obviously my own portfolio, my opinion, but that those are my thoughts on these upgrades and downgrades here.
Morgan Stanley on BB&T said raising to overweight on declining expenses into the second half of next year, and then on SunTrust they downgraded it on credit and expense improvements, which are largely priced in.
Boy, are those are some terms. If you understand those, you're a heck of a lot smarter than me.
AT&T downgraded at JP Morgan, following through here this morning on the sell-off. It's had a 3-day sell-off. 3 days ago, so it was 35.50. It's now 34.40. This is starting to become a pretty big down move here for AT&T. Tally in the book is 177,000 shares at 34.5. So that's to buy. That liquidity becomes active at 9:30. I think it'll struggle to open below that. It's offered at 34.45 right now, trading 34.40. I'm probably looking at it as possibly trying to maybe shorten that opening print if if it continues to trade down here in the pre-market. But 34.5, I think that's where it might open at actually. So I'm trying to call the open for you boys.
Okay, 34.52 was yesterday's low. I'm just looking at this going a little farther back. I wish we'd been talking to our traders when this thing was at 35.5 because it had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 highs in that area. So someone was trying to wiggle out there. 34.52 was a low from yesterday. You got the big institutional bid there. You also had a low at 34.56 on the 8th of this month. So that's big support. If not, things start to open up. And with AT&T, a lot of times these big stocks, if this thing opens up at 34.50 and doesn't immediately get a 10-15 cent pop here, I think you could get some follow through on the downgrade. Just going real quick back to the bank stocks, JH3 here with his institutional holding in Key Bank. Just couldn't take out that $13 level. There were just too many sellers there ganging up.
Yeah.
Now, along with the rest of the banks, I wouldn't say it. I mean, it has broken that short-term support. You did have the double bottom, 1273, 1276. You're trading smartly below that. You did also have some support here. I really wouldn't think it's in big trouble. 1242 was your low on November 4th. So I think that's like your last bastion of support here in this issue. If not, you could be going closer to the $12 level.
Yeah, 1237 actually. The next day
Oh,
got
I
a
see
little bit
that.
lower
Yep.
than that, but below 1237, it's all air below that. So if you're in it right now, 1254, I don't know, maybe you give it 20 cents here and see if that lasts, support area because there was multiple lows there. So I would say the next support area is relatively close to where it is, below 1237, and this thing could get real ugly. It all depends on what happens with the banks. They all move together. Obviously, we saw that yesterday with the big sell-off in all the banks. So overall here, it depends on what happens with the banks, but 1237 needs to hold for key.
Interesting chart here as far as the whole number theory comes in here. Flirted with 13 on 3 days in a row, and then sellers kind of stepped down the next few days to the high 1290s. You actually did get back up to 1299 on in Monday's trading. So it's just a good example here of a big stock trades a lot of volume. The whole number theory coming into place.
Flex getting downgraded to sell at GSFLEX. If you like to sell weak stocks, this is one of them. So Goldman Sachs looking at this as a sell. Weak ones, and obviously buy lower later on. 721 it just ticked to, so this does make a new low in the last 4 months. I'm trying to see if it's not a new yearly low. We were down here earlier in May, but it's a low for the last 4 months, and the chart is ugly. We had the big down day. I don't know if that was earnings or what that was when it went from 9 to below 8. It tried to get back up over 8. It could not. Cascading through the 7 handle, and it looks like it's on the road to 7.
Spotty trades here, pre-market, 721 is where it's trading. Just no life in this thing, but
No.
just kind of went down. Looks like no one's willing to hop on this thing on the upside. Yesterday's low, 736, should act as resistance. Boom, this thing's just been holding in here for the last couple weeks. If you are looking for some support in this thing, 717, I mean, that's only 4 cents away from here. I guess I'd stick with the whole number theory on this one and trade it down to the 701 level back in May of this year.
Yeah, there's no reason to buy a stock when it's making new lows here, especially on a Goldman Sachs downgrade here. So I think you're going to get some follow through here. I know I was saying that on Alco and Goldman Sachs upgraded them a little while ago, but on this one here, weak stocks do tend to get weaker in this market, and the Goldman Sachs downgrade to sell is definitely not going to help this stock. Tesla, Joel. I just want to talk to you about Tesla. I know you're so depressed.
Here we go.
Because you dumped those calls.
You should see Joel's face right now. He doesn't look happy.
It had an absolutely incredible day yesterday. Joel should have profited from it, but his overall bear market thesis made him dump his only long position, which was the calls on Tesla, the 130s he had. Tell me about this, Joel. What's going through your head?
You guys are so funny.
Could you get me a tissue, please? You're right, Dennis, and this is probably my number one problem since I've been trading over the years is that I cannot let my overriding market sentiment, I let it determine all of my actions here. And this was a bad one. I mean, I looked at this, it just kind of got tired here in the 120s, and I even made one right move. Instead of playing the 130s last week, I said, hey, I was talking to a buddy of mine, a trader that's very active. He said, give yourself another week. I said, okay. So on Wednesday or Thursday of last week, I paid up to the premium gods, and I paid I don't know $3 for the weekly 130s for this week. And then I got, the market started breaking the $1,800 level, which, the S&Ps, which really, if you think about it, doesn't have anything to do with Tesla. And I mean, with Teslas, you have to worry about his cars catching on fire. And so when I put on the large put position, and this thing wasn't even that much against me. I mean, it was really just a panic trade. I was prepared to let the options go off the board worthless, and I really wanted to see it get above 130 on Monday. So I held it for 3 days, even though I had 4 more days. And then you got the driver, And when I take a position in stocks like this, I come in, I'm like, what's the news? What's the Benzinga news desk saying? Is there upgrades? Are there downgrades? And you had a double whammy yesterday. You had the driver. You had a lot of people short the stock. Number one, of what some German company said they weren't going to follow through on the investigation of the fires, and then you got an upgrade. And so there you had two drivers. You got it up in the pre-market, and instead of complaining about it, I could have easily got back in the market, and then bought the calls, yesterday and still profited from it. But just that number one rule of just not letting my overall market sentiment, rule what I do in individual stocks.
Yeah, and that's what sometimes stocks can go up. This is the type of market where individual issues, you'll get into these trendy markets where everything goes down, everything goes up. This is not this type of market. There
Good
are
point.
stocks that are up every day in a down tape. There are stocks that are down every day in an up tape. It's being able to identify that relative strength in each stock and go with that. And it really turned in Tesla 4 days ago when it made that new low, and we talked about it on the show. It made the new low 116.10, then came up right away and closed, I believe, back up above 120. And then we were saying the next morning, we're like, well, it kind of looks like that was a shake. We always say these, the breakdown there, but it looked like a fake down there. And it just shook out everybody, probably shook out the longs that were leaning on the whole 119 area, and obviously sucked a few shorts in too. And then the next day had a good green up day. So that's your sign that, hey, maybe a few people, the short-term herd is not long this thing anymore, which means, you always want to fade the short-term herd. And anybody that was caught short is probably still caught short. And here it gave you a little pullback there a couple of days, so you had the right call to buy those calls. You're on the right side. And obviously the big move up to yesterday. So
Right, and I can remember when we were talking on the show here, if we can go back when it had all those lows of like 119, 120. We're thinking, and I can actually remember saying, hey, if you want to try a swing trade at 122, 123, you got
yeah,
to let it go under 119. And that's exactly what happened. The people that were banking on that technical formation got taken out, went to 116.10, and then actually that day it ended up closing back above the support level
yep.
120.50, and then it was the next day that I ended up buying the calls. So it's tough, man. You gotta give yourself a little time and good risk reward ratios. Now, when I was and originally my original premise when I put on the trade was looking at the 50% retracement from the 194 to 116 move, and that takes you up to 155, 160. We all remember 160. You had a major support in that area for a long time. So got a little bit of a ways to go. I don't know if it's going to go straight up another 10 points to that, but yeah, for me, the trade's over. I'm just going to have to move on to the next one.
I think you could see some follow through here today. Look at the high from yesterday, closed near the high, 144.94. It is trading down here in the pre-market. This thing starts getting up 145, 146. It's a lot of air above. We had a big move down. So, and we saw it with Apple. Apple had that huge 2-3 day run yesterday, an upgrade, and then everybody wanted to own Apple. They wanted an excuse, the 550 level hold, which was critical, and boom, I cannot believe, I thought you might get a pullback to try to buy. on the Apple
Yep.
upgrade yesterday. It did not happen. Never gave you a shot. The thing gapped and continued to run here and ran another $10 after it gapped up yesterday. So 567.50. And here, look at the relative strength in this thing. Market down 3.5. Apple's up another buck. Everybody just wants to be an Apple right now.
Just one last thing on the Tesla. We hit 44.94 in yesterday's session. Now, if you go back to the beginning of the month before the big meltdown, you had 3 out of 4 highs: 44.70, 45.42, 45.65. So.
Yeah.
I might take the other side of the big follow through the 145.50 level on that one. I think it'd take a little bit of breather here. We got and once again, I'm using my market sentiment here. You got a little bit of a down market. The other thing is we're not going to go down like it did before because you got a lot of people stuck short in this one.
Yeah, that's it. And every time it pulls back here, people are going to be buying, and they're going to be bottom picking in it too. So gets above 146. So I'll give you that. We did have a couple highs. 145.65, I believe, is the high, or 145.70. Yeah, right in there, 145.65 from that early November. So we can get above there. A lot of air above it.
Yeah, it traded up nicely in pre-market about 6 a.m. here. Some of the Momo guys trying to paint the tape got up to 146.99, $3 off that level. Just don't think it. And just another thing to note: if I would have held on to those calls, I wouldn't be in them now. I would have been selling those things, probably in the
Still
low
for blood. Get the
130s.
super
So I'm not gonna fool myself. Maybe if I had a boatload of them, it's one thing I would have paced out. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see if we can get yesterday's high is a big number to me.
Cirrus Holdings, SHLD, taking out key support here. Had a ton of support in late October around $55. Had a huge down day yesterday. They were leaning the right way. It's down here again. Eddie's selling some stock there, Brent, you were saying? What's the news here driving Cirrus down?
Yeah, I'm looking at an amended 13D from ESL Partners. That's one of Eddie's firms over there. I see a 48.4% stake in Sears. It's down from over 50% previously, so I think there is some significance when you get below that 50%. One story I seen said that Eddie was cutting his stake to meet redemptions. So that's not exactly something you want to hear on the Eddie Lampert side of things.
This thing has had a real bad last few days. Was
Oh, yeah.
trading. Yeah, look at that. Let's just look at the pre-market activity here. 53, no bounce. That's the low in the pre-market. Looking at this thing on a weekly perspective here, boy, that
53 is big too.
it just doesn't look good.
It's down like 15% plus, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just under 48 here. I don't know if we can get another $4 here, but you did had a low at 47.03 back in September.
53.02 was low on the 15th too. So we are trying to defend that level here in the pre-market. Somebody's trying to defend the $53. Starts getting below 53. You're right, Joel. There's nothing below 53. I don't know if I want to come and sell something down $2.50 here, but starts going 52.5, and which it just ticked to 52.95. We'll have to see what it does in the regular session, but this could be another ugly day for Sears. Crude, we just go touch crude and gold here because crude is up a buck here. What's the charts? We haven't talked about it for a couple of days. What's the chart looking like on crude?
Wow,
What
it
does
is
dollar
up
do?
another stick, huh? I
Yeah,
mean, that
yeah,
thing
awesome.
did. Wow, it's on a now it's what? Boy, we hit 91.77. I mean, I think that was less than 5-6 trading sessions ago here.
Been on a tear here.
Yeah, boy, you hit that level. Now it's just been straight up. Yeah, you hit 91.77 on the 27th. Now you hit 97.53. I don't know if there's some fundamental news associated with that or not.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, if you look at the chart from about 7:40, you see that huge chop since about 7:40 Eastern Time. Saudi oil minister saying that. Oh, one sec.
He said, buy oil.
There was an OPEC meeting. Saudi oil minister says OPEC has agreed to maintain its current quota. Another headline out of there. OPEC officials have agreed to roll over their output target and have extended the Secretary General's term by 1 year. So traders in the oil pits were kind of positioning ahead of this OPEC meeting for a couple days now, and now you see the result and just a whole lot of volatility right here.
$97.30 was your high on November 1st. We did get above that. 97.68 was a high on your last day on Halloween. So we did get right up to that area as resistance. I think if it can recover a second time up to that 97.50 level, it should act as major resistance. Above that here, you had a high above that at 98.47. I think it's a little bit done here. I'll do the math for tomorrow and find out a nice 50% retracement in this thing because it did have a huge decline.
Quickly, just to gold here. I know we're running short on time, but we have turned around in gold here this morning. It was trading down, and then the numbers that came out at 8:15 made gold turn around when the market sold off. Gold did spike up, and we are now up $2.80 on the gold futures.
Right, down market, sometimes a boost to gold that hasn't really helped it over the last 2 days. Keeping an eye out, 25.80 was your high from yesterday. You did get above that today, 27.90. So I'd still kind of be leaning towards the short side unless we can get make a new high, get above 12.30. Things really open up to 12.50 after that.
We're going to take a short break here, and we'll be back with our
Anka,
special guest,
Anka Metcalf is going to be our guest today.
TradeOutLoud.com.
Okay, traders, we're back. We're just going to review a little action here in J.C. Penney here. Quite a reversal of fortune here for the stock. Back under $10, Dennis.
Yeah, it's turned for the worse here. Wells Fargo coming out this morning, and they are saying that the analyst for Wells Fargo is keeping his $4 to $5 price target on it. He's commenting on the November comps. Analyst Paula Jewies, I don't know if that's how you say his name. Unimpressed by improved November comps. Describes simple stack analysis as misleading. So I don't know. That's not good news. Analysts coming out here not liking the comps. I know Deutsche Bank wasn't in love with them either, and the stock has turned for the worst here. It has come back off the lows. Where did it just get down to, fellows?
962.
It's come back up. It's 993 right
Little
now, so it's
bounce.
trying to grind back up to this $10 area. But obviously, some analyst concerns with the November comps here, which originally looked like they were great. So I'm not liking that. That the comps look that good, and all of a sudden the stock is now trading down. Whenever you see a stock come out with potentially good news, spikes up, and then reverses and starts trading down that good news, that's not a good sign. I'm starting to see offers line up in the book here too. 1020, 1025, 1031,
Uh-oh.
97,000 shares. So starting to get littered in the book. That liquidity obviously becomes active at 930. So I'm skeptical here. I think they're going to start lining up in the tens here, and we're at 994 right now. So once we were looking a little bit more bullish on J.C. Penney, we're now looking a little more bearish here on
We're
it.
flip flopping, but
We're
962
flip
was
flop. We're
yeah,
traders.
962 was a low on Monday here. 990 was yesterday's low. I think you got a lot of people spooked on the short side here. I think you're going to find buyers under the $10 level, but we can move on. We have Anna Metcalf on the line of TradeOutLoud.com. Anka, how you doing?
Good morning, guys. I'm just enjoying your show. It's a great dose of marketino.
Okay.
Thanks, Doc.
You're all about trader education, and we'll get into that in a second. But you've been
Mhm.
involved in the markets for a while. Could you just give us your brief education and trading background?
Sure. I hold a master's degree from in international transaction and the stock market, and this is from Bucharest, Romania. This is in Europe. I'm originally from Europe, and I've worked in the bank and investment industry for many, many years in Europe and here in the U.S. And I started. Part-time trading, I would say, in 2003, that would be 2002, 2003, mostly in swing and position trading, and this is stock trading and forex as well. And in 2005, I decided to take it to day trading and trade full time. And believe it or not, it is the best decision that I've ever made. So very, very happy with that.
Okay, you say day trading. Now your time frame is, are you an actual like intraday trader? Are you doing more swing trading?
I
What's your
am
time
doing
frame?
both. Yes,
Both.
I am
Okay.
doing both. So I'm a very, very active trader. I day trade intraday chart. So I'm a gap trader
Oh,
as
Joel, like
well in
that.
the morning. Yeah. So that's why I really enjoy your show. Okay. And I also do intraday trades, and I usually like to follow the trend. And I kind of like select my stocks after 10 a.m. when the trend is somewhat established, and I look for entries on the 5 and 15-minute chart. But right off the bat, right off, you know, at the open, when I trade gaps, I zoom into the 1 and the 2-minute chart. So very, very small time frame. And I also swing trade as well.
Okay, so you trade stocks. Are you also active in the futures or options or foreign exchange?
Just Forex, just foreign exchange.
Okay, and so that's like a 24-hour market. I mean, are you up all night, or do you have
No.
no?
No, actually, I do trade the New York session, and I put my forex trades during the New York session. And of course, I like to focus on forex more on a larger time frame. So I'm mostly swing trading forex
Okay.
moves, and I focus more on the 1 hour and the 4 hour chart. That brings more clarity and more flexibility, and gives me some time to sleep.
What currencies are you trading?
I mostly focus on the euro dollar, a dollar yen. So the dollar pairs, Aussie dollar. I actually have a Aussie dollar trade that is going on right now. and I'm booking really nice profits on it. I'm bearish on it. And it's just flirting with that 90 cent area. So it really looks lower into the 89 cents and even lower if we breach that area. So basically dollar pairs, euro pairs is what I focused on. I only have 5 or 6 major currency pairs that I focus, so I keep it narrow.
Okay, so it sounds like you definitely take a technical aspect of your trading, but just just going back to the to individual equities. Do you follow like an entire? Do you follow the entire universe of stocks, or do you have like your 15, 20 go-to stocks that you concentrate on?
I follow the entire universe. I scan every night and I scan every morning before the market opens. I You can use a scanner, okay,
What
because I
scanners do you use? Just
um well, I use trade ideas.
okay, yeah.
Uh I have been using trade ideas for many, many, many years and I love it. I don't know if I got used to it, but I think it is an amazing scanner. And I do have, actually, I use 2 monitors just for scanning. So, I am that much of a stock addict.
How many
So,
positions do you have on at one time? It sounds like it
um,
sounds like you're a lot better than me. I get like three, four, 5 positions on, and I break out in a cold sweat. Sounds like you handle a lot of positions.
I do. For day trading, I sometimes have 3 or 4 positions, and for swing trading, I have on right now, I think close to 8 or 9 positions open.
Okay, so quite a few here, different ones. Now, when you're scanning, because I'm always interested in traders
Mhm.
that use scanners or filters, because I've got a couple of my own. I've developed some scanners of myself that I had some programs developed for me 4 or 5 years ago. But I've also used Matscan. I've used Trade Ideas in the past as well, and I've used NeoVest in the past. So I like the scanners for the ideas. What are you looking for in your scanners? Are you looking for like breakouts, breakdowns? What kind of stuff are you filtering for?
Okay, so I do have tons of filters. First of all, I look at the open, I look for gaps. And the scanner sorts for me, gaps that meet my criteria. So I kind of like fine tuned it, and tweaked it exactly to meet my criteria. So I scan for gaps. I also scan for 15-minute trades. 15-minute bullish moves or 15-minute sell setups, breakouts and breakdowns for momentum trades as well. I think momentum trades are great at the open. They have odds of continuing, if they break resistance, let's say, and if you're in a
Right.
long position, yeah, they have odds of continuing higher if they're in the open and you have, the market on your side and all that good stuff. So momentum plays a big role for scalping, even for scalping opportunities. Or I just place, some very, very strong trends on charts, on thumbnails, and I watch them throughout the day for pullbacks, especially on the 5 and the 15-minute chart.
So
Yeah.
you're not necessarily looking to fade it. Like if you get a gap up in something, you're just as prone to go. We refer to it as a gap and go, which Tesla was a great example of yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll look at it from both ways. Where hey, this thing's gapping, it's going, I'm going with it. And you also look to, and then on the other hand, you will say, okay, this is a little bit overdone here. I'm gonna wait for this to fill the gap.
Basically, yeah, I'm looking for support and resistance levels, and I'm looking to see, I'm looking to trade actually with the market. But with Tesla, like yesterday, Tesla is a perfect example of the gap and go, and it has set a definite support level. And and I was watching actually Tesla, and it had retraced. I believe I don't have a chart right here in front of me, but I believe it was on the weekly chart. It had a 50% retracement off which it bounced. So it was a very, very interesting area. And I was watching actually for a long as it set that particular support level where, let me just pull up a chart real quick
Okay.
to give you some prices. Okay, so the 50% retracement was at around 113 level. 113 to 114, level 114, 114.71, around that area. And it's quite nicely the way it's set up onto the weekly chart as it pulled back right into that 50% retracement, very close to that area, and quickly it developed that bottoming tail, and it actually traded through that magnet line of 38.2%. You can see that I'm a technical trader. Okay.
Correct.
And it's heading right now towards that 160 area. So that is my, I would say, small to medium term target on Tesla for now. And that's going to be a big barrier at around, I would say, 156, 156.50. That's going to be the decision time, I think, for Tesla, as it might continue higher to challenge the previous high that was set at 195.50, or it can actually turn around and develop into a downtrend onto the weekly chart. So that's going to be probably a decision time for Tesla.
Okay, but
Is this one you do have long right now, Tesla, or in your like those swing trades you were talking about?
Yes, yes, I do.
What other ones? Just curious if you don't mind sharing. What other swing trades are you in right now? And like, because I like this target analysis as well that you're giving.
Okay, I'm in a little baby stock. It's called RAD, Rite Aid.
We just talked about Rite
I
Aid.
know.
Are you long
I
it?
know. And I picked this stock up at $5.50. It was
Ooh, good
a
pickup.
really nice breakout onto the weekly chart and the daily chart. I had a 50-cent stop on it, so my entry was 5.50 and my stop was below 5. And I do see it higher. I love the monthly chart. I think, and as we're approaching, the end of the year with window dressing and all that good stuff, I think this still has some power into it, and I think it can still go higher, continue a little bit higher. And it's ignoring the market. It's totally ignoring the market. It's just the perfect energizer bunny.
What's your target on this Rite Aid?
I have a target at 650 as $7 and 7.45.
Whoa.
so you like to scale out of things. So just
Yeah.
yep. So just looking, just going back to something that we were talking about here. I'm not sure if you're going to trade it today, but we've had a lot of news, a lot of action in J.C. Penney. Not that you're necessarily going to trade this today, but surely like to hear your interpretation of the action so far.
Oh, absolutely. I think JCPenney continues to be weak. I don't know if if this is just just another retracement into the $10 area, and I think $10 is kind of like a real resistance for this stock. I think that if it trades below $9.50, it can continue into $9, and if it breaks the $9, I think it's going to go back to 8, and even visit the previous low at around 624, around that area. So I'm not very bullish on this one right now. It is into an hourly support at this level at around 950, and I'm not too thrilled about it to go long on this one.
So
Yeah.
were you looking in the pre-market? I mean, this thing got up to 1086. Do you trade in the pre-market at all? I mean, if it's that far away from your shorting level, would you take advantage of the pre-market trading and get out there and pop some bids up there?
No, I don't do any pre-market trading.
Okay.
And there's a lot of risk, obviously, in the
Yeah.
pre-market too, because the chart's completely changed here from when me and Joel were analyzing it an hour ago. It was trading up at like 10:30, 10:40, which would
Hmm.
have been a breakout for the stock because we were talking about this major resistance at
Hmm.
10:22, 10:17, 10:21. That obviously didn't happen here. So that,
Right.
even though it had a pre-market breakout, it's not going to get one. It doesn't look like in the regular session. You have the Wells Fargo note knocking it back down here now, and I think you're exactly right. I think this $10 becomes like a wall here now. We were just talking when we started the show. It was up at 9.95. It's now down at 9.77. And I think they're going to line up here at $10. And where that triple top there looked like it might be breaking out, now it looks like that holds, and that's kind of a bearish sign here too. So I'm kind of leaning your way too here on the bearish thesis in J.C. Penney all of a sudden.
And one final note on that, and we talk about this a lot on the show here, is that the pre-market trading. If you can use it for a target, like let's say you had a target at 1050 in this J.C. Penney, and it hit that. It didn't hit it very fast, but it's always good if you have a target or a trade that you want to get out of,
Exit
and it
trade.
hits it. Yeah, exit the trade. I mean,
Yes.
yeah, you would have been lamenting when it went up to 1086, but now you're looking like the king of England.
Okay. Anka, you have a lot of trading courses here. You're actually doing a free webinar apparently tomorrow here. Fast track your swing and position trading with one simple strategy. And that's today at 4:30 here. What are you going to be talking about in this webinar today?
I will be sharing one of my strategies, a very, very simple strategy. And it's actually a strategy because we talked about Rite Aid. It is a strategy that helped me identify this trade and also identified an Apple, the Apple breakout.
Oh yeah.
And I'm just pulling up the chart real quick of Apple. And actually, when I was creating this presentation last week, I was talking about a breakout in Apple right above 530,
I knew you were going to say
530.
that. I knew you were going to say 530. It traded, and we talked about this on the show. It traded between what 512. It had to spike up after earnings, and it had to spike down, and then it stayed between 512 and 530. I think I put this out. I think eight for like 18 sessions, and I'm like, okay, if this gets above 530. I'm gonna buy it, and then I'm looking. Oh, it's at 535. I can't buy it at 535. Oh, it's at 540. I can't buy it at 540.
I know.
Oh,
Never gave you a second chance.
yeah, but so
Is this one you're still in? Apple?
Yes.
Where's Target on this one? Just because we have a lot of guys that trade Apple.
Into the 600.
Oh, you're
she's
long
bullish. Oh
She's
man,
long term.
we got to get her off the show. She's way too bullish for us.
Well. It seems to be working very well for her. So
Well, to be very honest, I think it does have a little bit of room, but we need the market for this, and we need the market momentum. And of course, I'm ready to trail. I usually, and not usually, but I trail all my stocks. And
yeah.
usually, let's say if I take a trade on the weekly time frame, as it hits my targeted one level, I zoom in one time frame at a time. So I go to the daily chart and then try to trail on that particular chart, pivot by pivot. So I, kind of book some profits and don't leave anything on the table.
Okay, what you teach several different courses, and just if there is there one common theme that you have, like what's the most important thing you teach in your courses?
I think one of the most important things is the technical analysis. I also always like to emphasize on technical analysis and money management, which is super, super important. And these are the two things that I really focus on and I really emphasize on and I think that's very, very important. And of course, reinforced with a lot of discipline. You have to have the patience, just like you mentioned earlier. Like, if it took off without you, you're not going to chase it. You're not just going to jump in $5 later or even 20 cents later. You missed it, you're going to have to wait for another opportunity or just move on to another stock. There are, thousands of stocks out there from you can choose from.
Okay, so you told us about some pretty good trades, the Rite Aid and the Apple. What's your next idea? What are you cooking up over there for us, Anka?
Okay, so I'm watching right now. I'm watching Autodesk. And of course, I'm gonna watch the market momentum as the market is gonna open right now and see how it digests all this news that came out at 8:30. But I'm watching Autodesk and I like it long here, over $46. With that, I would say like kind of like a soft stop right below $45 area for a swing trade, and the range is formed at a previous resistance on a monthly chart. I think the more it consolidates here, the more odds it'll have to continue higher. But again, I'm going to wait for the market on this one. And I see targets into 46.76, into $47, even $48. And there's also an opportunity for day traders, I think, here, and I'm going to watch it at market open. And I will look actually for a breakout over $46. And pre-market, I see it a little bit wiggle around that area. And I'm going to look for a protective stop below the 15-minute support area, which is, I would say, approximate 46.60. So I'm going to watch Autodesk at the open. I also am watching Walmart, WMT.
It's dividend today.
Yeah. And I like it as a day trade as well. I'm going to watch it. I see it trading right now at 80.72. And I'm going to watch this one to see if it trades higher and try to take out 81.30, the previous high. And kind of like watching to see if this area of support will hold here. So this one is definitely on my radar. I would say STX has been a real power trend this year. And to be very honest, I've missed every possible entry on this trade. But I'm watching this for a swing and core position. I think it is very bullish. And I like the weekly range on it. I think it has more upside to it, especially that window dressing is coming up right now. QCOM, I think, also is bullish, and I see it. I see it has somewhat a potential of continuing higher. So there you go. Some market stocks. Also looking at CLAC. I think it overall has a quite bullish pattern, but it really needs to trade over 64.50. So that's going to be on the watch list, 64.50, 64.60. So this is what I'm going to watch for. I also have on my list MGM, just pulling the chart real quick.
Are you bearish anything?
I'm sorry? Yes, I do. I am bearish, actually.
It sounds to me like you're kind of like Chris in this way. We had Chris Banny on the show a week and a half ago, and he was saying he buys strong stocks and sells weak stocks. So he's never afraid to buy a stock making a new high. And it sounds to me like, just from your setup, that you kind of subscribe to that same theory, which is actually counterintuitive to how new investors think. They always want to buy low. They want to buy on the cheap, and then try to and it's actually seems to work better, especially in this momentum market that we're in, that actually aren't afraid to buy the highs. Chris always says it's because there's no pain up there. Nobody's been up there before. So stocks can just continue to move higher because nobody's got reference points where, if it ever gets back here, I'll sell. Well, that doesn't happen when you have a stock making a new 52-week high or a new all-time high. Do you agree with that? Is that kind of how you
absolutely agree with that. I absolutely agree with that. And the market has proved that that theory is right, because every pullback was buyable, and the market like the buys into new highs and Dow, and we have perfect examples. And I think it does have room to move higher and even faster, because we don't, like you've mentioned, we don't have a reference point. We don't have any resistance. So it's into the clear, into a tradable void.
Okay, well, we got to move on to our headlines another minute here, but we would just like to get your final tips for, I guess, for new traders, and also, people that've been in the markets for a long time, and just give us your final tips for traders out there.
Okay, I think the best tip that I can get out there is to get educated before you decide to enter the market and before you decide to invest. I think you really need to get educated, and bottom line is you're going to pay either way, whether you pay for your education or just become a liquidity provider for the market, and chances are you can preserve your capital by getting educated first. And I think, this is important. And another thing would be that goes hand in hand with this one is once you get your proper education, have realistic expectations. You're going up against the best in the world, the best industry, so don't go unarmed, okay? And find a good mentor that you can follow and you can learn from until you get confidence to trade. And I think you guys are doing such a great and amazing thing with Market Find, with Benzinga educating people. and they should continue to listen to you guys.
Okay, all right. We'll see how that turns out.
That's excellent.
But Anka, thank you. You had the distinction of being the first female guest here on Benzinga's Pre-Market Info by Options House, and it's nice to hear your chipper voice and your outlook on the market. And we'd certainly like to have you back again.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Okay, have a good day.
Thanks,
Okay,
Anka.
yeah, we're
Thank
gonna.
you. Happy trading, guys.
Okay, we're gonna switch over here to Mighty Joe Young with some
Hey,
morning.
everybody. Thank you, Anka, for coming on the show today. Like Joel said, she is our first female MarketFi maven that we've had here at the company, and she's been here in the office as well. She brought us some lovely presents, including, I believe it was Moet and Chandon champagne. She's classy.
We
very
did
classy.
have Chelsea on though, speaking about InstaChat or something like that. So
Snapchat,
okay,
Joel,
I get all
come
those things mixed
on.
up. Okay, Joe, on with the headlines.
Okay, so in today's headlines around the globe, healthcare is here to stay now that the website works, Obama says in a new campaign. The president's comments came after the administration claimed that 1 million people on Monday visited healthcare.gov. The administration, however, has not yet indicated how many people have actually signed up for insurance via the portal. President Obama on Tuesday kicked off a 3-week campaign to build support for his healthcare overhaul by countering stories of its botched rollout with flesh and blood tales of success. We're not repealing it as long as I'm president, Obama said, with an air of defiance to a pre-selected applauding audience at the White House. If I've got to fight another 3 years to make sure this law works, then that's what I'll do, he said. With Republicans bashing him even before he spoke, Obama reverted to a style that served him well on the campaign trail, using very personal stories to partly overcome his own, at times, emotionally distant style. The city of Detroit's $18 billion debt was declared eligible for bankruptcy on Tuesday morning, officially making it the largest U.S. municipality to file for Chapter 9 bankruptcy protection. Judge Stephen Rhodes' ruling is a stinging rebuke to creditors, unions, and especially the pension funds whose financial wherewithal is vital to the city's 22,000 retirees and 10,000 active employees. Pensions can be cut in bankruptcy, he said, but warned that he would likely not approve of a plan that proposes to cut benefits too steeply. Regarding items in the Detroit Institute of Arts, Rhodes and emergency manager Kevin Orr said the total collective value of about $2 billion was far too little for the city to seriously consider selling off. British Prime Minister David Cameron on Tuesday mounted a robust defense of GlaxoSmithKline's business practices in China, where it is being investigated for alleged bribery, calling the firm very decent. Cameron's intervention came a day after he raised GSK's situation with China's top leadership in a move one person familiar with the conversation said was designed to draw a line under the company's woes and ensure it was treated fairly. Cameron is on a trade promotion trip to China with around 100 executives, including GSK Chief Executive Andrew Whitty, and is trying to help the firm grapple with the aftermath of accusations. It funneled up to 300 billion won, or $492 million, to travel agencies to facilitate bribes to boost its drug sales. Japan's Toshiba Corporation will tie up with German real estate company Gagfa SAS to sell energy directly to residents in Germany, people close to the matter told Reuters. Beginning in March 2014 in 2 towns in South Germany, Toshiba will fit solar panels on residential properties owned by Gagfa and feed the power generated directly into homes, supplemented with other energy sources to ensure stable supplies, the sources said. Bypassing the grid should enable Toshiba to cut costs and offer energy at a lower price to consumers without relying on subsidies known as feed-in tariffs, a selling point in Germany where a shift away from nuclear power to renewable energy sources has caused a rise in electricity bills. YouTube, already the biggest free music service in the world, had planned on launching a paid service in 2013, which now won't happen until next year. People familiar with the company's plan say it is now looking at a first quarter launch in 2014, though it doesn't have a specific date nailed down. YouTube already has the licenses it needs from music owners to launch the service, but All Things D was told the company isn't satisfied with the product itself. Before Apple, Topsy had at least one other suitor you may not have known about, and it turns out to be Twitter. According to sources familiar with the matter, Twitter considered buying Topsy a number of times throughout the company's 6-year history. Topsy's value proposition is fairly straightforward. The company has had access to Twitter's fire hose, the ever-flowing stream of all the tweets sent on Twitter, since practically the beginning of Twitter's existence. It's one of a few companies to have had full access to that data, and for years Topsy has been doing interesting things with it. Topsy can search the corpus of Twitter data to surface breaking news, gauge overall sentiment toward specific topics, and even potentially predict future events. Topsy was attractive to Twitter, according to sources, because in some cases Topsy's search technology and tools were even more effective than Twitter's own in-house search tools, which have been a weak point for Twitter for years. Walmart is paying for lawyers to represent more than 30 of its executives involved in a foreign corruption investigation, according to people familiar with the matter, an unusually high number that shows the depth of the federal probe. The U.S. Department of Justice is investigating whether Walmart paid bribes in Mexico to obtain permits to open new stores there, and whether executives covered up an internal inquiry into the payments. The department is also looking into possible misconduct by the world's largest retailer in Brazil, China, and India. The animal rights group the Non-Human Rights Project has filed a lawsuit in the United States to establish a chimpanzee as a legal person. The group's president, Steve Wise, told the BBC Radio 4's Today program that he is specifically filing lawsuits on behalf of the 4 surviving chimpanzees in the state of New York so that they will have the right to no longer be imprisoned. We're asking the courts to remove them to a sanctuary where they would be as free as they can be in North America. He went on to add that we have consciously modeled the lawsuit upon the way both British and American courts dealt with black slaves in the 18th and 19th centuries who sought freedom. Under the theories that we're proposing before the court, the species is not relevant at all. In today's trivia tidbit, on this day, the modest Sun Records storefront recording studio owned by producer Sam Phillips at 760 Union Avenue in Memphis, Tennessee, played an outsized role in rock and roll history. The impromptu jam session by 4 young rock and roll giants that took place on this day in 1956. Among those stars was Carl Perkins, recording a follow-up to his smash hit from earlier that year, Blue Suede Shoes. Hanging out in the booth was Perkins' good friend Johnny Cash, and playing piano for $15 a session fee was the brash, wild Jerry Lee Lewis, whose career-making single Whole Lotta Shakin' Goin' On was set for release just a few weeks later. 4 songs into Perkins' session, all work came to an end with the arrival of an unexpected drop-in guest, Elvis Presley. While recording engineer Jack Clement ran a tape that would not be discovered for more than 20 years, Phillips had the presence of mind to summon a photographer from the local newspaper to capture images of all 4 men gathered around a piano, singing the kind of music they'd all grown up on, gospel. The caption under the photo that ran in the next day's Memphis Press was $1 Million Quartet. And just a reminder, folks, that this show would not be possible without our dear friends at OptionsHouse, who are offering 150, that's 150 commission-free trades if you sign up for an account from this page. All you have to do is click on one of the ads, either at the top of the page or over to the side, get an account, and you get 150 commission-free trades through OptionsHouse, all because you listen to Benzinga's pre-market info. And with that, we're going to send it on over to my buddy, Snaky Jake. Snaky or shaky?
Did you almost say Snake the Jake?
I almost did say that. Jake
right.
shakes like a snake, and he's about to do the movers before the bell.
Indeed, I am. So we do have quite a few stocks moving out there, and I want to hop into a few of the names moving in the pre-market as we speak. The first one I want to pull up is JCPenney. That's Juliet Charlie Papa. Company obviously is moving all over the place as usual. Down 2.27% right now, below that $10 level. Company released some same-store sales after the close yesterday. It looks like despite the 10.1% increase it showed in November, and they also stated that their e-commerce trends have been following the same style, but we're seeing that traders are bidding it down right now, so it could be a case of buy the rumor, sell the news. Joel, looks like we're below that the key $10 levels, psychological level right there. What are you thinking on JCPenney here? Obviously, battleground stock, crazy retailer. What are you thinking?
We did hit 962 in the pre-market, over a buck range from that 1089 high. I want to alert our traders to the 962 low that we had on Monday. We are 25 cents away from there. I'm looking for that to hold today. I have to be honest with you. After trading up over $10, I think you had a lot of people. There was big volume going off. people were obviously fading the move up there over the 1020, 1030, all the way up to the 1080 level. They don't care where JCPenney goes over the next couple of weeks. They're going to book some profits here. I'm looking for this the pre-market low to hold this 962 level and just kind of waffle back up towards the $10 area. And I think you will sneak back into the 10 handle today.
Another one we want to take a look at is actually another embattled retailer, Sears Holdings. That's Sandy, Hotel, Lima, Delta Company. There was an amended 13D filing from Eddie Lampert's ESL partners saying that they had reduced their stake in the company to 48.4%. Now, Eddie Lampert's the primary owner of the company, so when you have a major holder like that dropping the stake, it looks like it's going to be scaring shareholders here. Shares are down 6.84% in the pre-market, and it's just had a real rough group of sessions. What was that, about 5 sessions back? It's just been getting hammered. Joel, what does this one look like? I think this is kind of it looks like a technical breakdown leading into this, and now we've got a news catalyst. Things look to be kind of grim for the retailer right now.
Yeah, it's kind of like, it's like someone got the memo like on last week about this at the $64. We weren't included in that memo, but 51.75. We just hit that in the pre-market, getting to bounce up into the 52 handle. We look at a lot of different charts here during the pre-market, and sometimes you see some kind of a bottom forming here. I don't see it as of yet. Look at the pre-market low, 51.75. If you absolutely positively have to try a line there, I wouldn't give it much below that pre-market low, 51.75. On the daily charts here, there's really nothing to go on. You have to even go farther out on the weekly charts, and it's under the $48 level. I don't think it's going to have the momentum to get there today. So I'll just give people the 51.75 level, and then 50 is a nice round number. But it's definitely a bad territory. I'd stay away from this one.
You got to wonder if that sell-off from ESL Partners is actually causing that drop in the last couple of days.
Oh,
just
for
seeing
sure.
how that chart was breaking down, they must have been just dumping shares on the market. Speaking of other major funds out there, Kyle Bass's Heyman Capital coming out with some comments on GM, saying the company will appreciate by more than 40% in 18 months. They're calling it the most compelling risk-reward situation in the auto industry. Seeing a little bit of a boost in General Motors right now. Up, I'm seeing like 0.89%, so not quite a full 1%, but after some strong auto sales numbers yesterday and this bullish note out from Kyle Bass, should be interesting to see what it does on today's session. That's Gulf. Mike is the ticker there, local auto company. Joel, what do you think here? Obviously, one of the major auto suppliers here, or not suppliers, but auto companies, no longer really government motors anymore, with the government pulling its stake out primarily. So what do you think here?
Boy, that's a tough call there. Making a move like this, I guess if you get above 40, the high since they've had the IPO, I'll just keep an eye on that number. The IPO high was at 39.48. Last few days here, we've hit 39.39. I just think above 40, I'd call this thing a breakout trade here. But just with the market that's run its head, Kyle's making his call. It's obviously longer term. I think you just need to get a breakout above 40. And we all know when Tesla broke out above 40. Remember that $40 level in Tesla?
Yeah, way back in the. I feel like I'm looking at a description on a wall there. It feels so long ago. Go up to $190 from 40. It doesn't seem like 40 is easy.
Yeah, and General Motors actually makes a lot of cars and sells a lot of cars.
You mean they actually make money?
Yeah, they do.
Wow.
They do. All right. Well, we're into the open here, so let's get into a few of the stocks that are moving. And JCPenney did kiss that $10 level off the open, $9.90, a quick 10-cent pop up to $10. So we will look at that. That's definitely going to be a line in the sand here for the next few trading sessions. If you're looking to purchase this on weakness here, 962 was the pre-market low, and that was also your low on Monday. So we'll be taking a look at that. Let's look at the big gun. Let's look at the index here, and the index is not looking good here. We have not taken out the pre-market low was 85 even. We are skimming just above that level, 1785 here. See if the bulls can defend that pre-market low. Below this area, not a lot of support in the rest of the 1780 handle or the 1770 handle until you get down to 1775, and let me check my date here. I believe you had a low of 1777.75, and that was on November 21st. But first, we got to get through that pre-market low of 1785. Another stock that was getting the Kramer push here, the $28 level. We had talked about maybe some institutional size at that level. Buyers took it out. 28.05 open, just dipped under 28 here. 27.99. Now you're getting a pop. I guess you can ride this thing on the long side, but I certainly would not like to see this thing go back down below 28. We got a little bit of ways to go to fill the gap. So if you're playing the gap and go like Anka, maybe on this one you're making some money. Moving on to a big mover from yesterday, and I have to talk about it here. Tesla, major move yesterday. Looks like you're getting a little profit taking here. Opened within 50 cents of yesterday's high. We're selling off here, coming up to the $140 level. Once again, a lot of people stuck short this thing, so you're not going to get the vacuum down that you may want. Christopher Banks, after some good earnings, has yet to open, so we will keep an eye on that one. Dennis was anticipating perhaps an open around the $7 level. Sears Holding continues to lose ground here. That pre-market low, 51.75, hasn't met much yet. We've traded another 50 cents below that. So continued weakness in Sears Holding. Apple Computer trading up in the pre-market. Yesterday's high in Apple. Let's take a look at that. Yesterday's high and the close are right up there at 566.35 close, 49 high. We've only been able to get to 566. So, hey, don't call the double top here yet in Apple, but you are getting some nice resistance in that level. Drew, you're asking about Sears, and you're looking to short. You're looking to short SHLD. Well, you've had a lot of opportunity here to do it. That actually opened up at the high of the day. If you want to take here a shot at the $51 level, go ahead. I think the way this thing moves, you'd have to use a stop above the high of the day at 52.70, and hope you can crack the $50 level, get down to 49. But Drew, I don't know. I don't know if you missed the boat on that one.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
I'm actually also looking at a Cleveland research note on Sears this morning, saying that U.S. comps had a sharp deterioration in November. So maybe Drew's taking a look at that note this morning and sort of jumping on board following the Eddie Lampert sales.
Well, Drew, if you got that short off at 51, you're 40 cents in the money. So I hope you were quick on the sell button there.
Right.
Just an example. When news comes out on a stock, fundamental news, along with a weak chart, this kind of downside action that you're getting. Let's take a look at some other stocks here that we talked about on today's show. Express, a retailer. I think it's a female retailer. I don't really follow these things much. Let's see what that stock is doing. It was getting hit in the pre-market. Was trading down quite a bit. Let's see. Take a look at the chart. Just kind of hanging out. 1970 had hit in the pre-market. We've only hit 1975 here in the 1992 here. So maybe some shorts reeling in here under $20. If that 1992 low holds here, you could just perhaps drift back up into the mid-20 handle. J.C. Penney hits the $10 quickly. Psychological resistance level pulling back. We're looking at the 962 level, pre-market low, as well as the low from Monday. If there's any other issues of interest for people out there in the Options House chat room, please throw them our way. We'd love to take a look at them, give you a quick analysis here in the open.
Joel, I got a quick news headline on
Okay.
a company, CGI Group. I'm not sure what kind of technicals you're gonna get on this one. Maybe pulp chart ticker is GIB, Golf India Bravo. I am just seeing a Business Insider story disclosing that Jim Chanos is shorting the company. Apparently, CGI is the company that is behind the healthcare.gov debacle, as per the Business Insider headline.
What's the symbol on it?
GIB, Golf India Bravo.
And it's a Celadon group.
Is that right? Yeah, CGI Group. Yeah, that would make sense.
CGI and the symbol is
Wait.
GIB.
I don't think it's the same company. I think they might be different companies.
Okay. Well, let me know when you get that. We can take a look at it. If you go, go with Carl Icahn, go with Jim Chanos. That's definitely where make some money going with those guys. JH3, we haven't talked about your SUNE in a while. I haven't looked at this stock since the last time you asked about it. Let's see how it's holding up in this negative tape over the last few days here. Boy, this stock just is relentless here, making a new high for the move. Took out the 1346 level, currently trading at the high of the day. Down open, but it's just turned around here on a dime. Let's just take a look at where the monthlies will take this thing. You have to go back to 2011, and you had a 1380 high back in March of 2011. And JH3, just the other thing, I don't have time to look it up for you here, but just keep an eye on the average daily range for this thing. I mean, it's already had roughly a 45-cent move. A lot of times you will have algorithms that are just looking for things within the average daily range just to pair out of positions. Quick bolt, although a 45-cent move. I know it's been moving pretty good, but I would just use that as a possible indicators. S&P futures do take out that pre-market low, but only by a couple ticks here. Kind of sneaking back up here in the 1780 handles, high of 1788. Well off of our pre-market high of 1795.75. Let me take a look at the continuous contract here, and I know the first time we hit 1785, we got a bump up to just about 1789 and a quarter. So call that a minor resistance point here in today's trading. 1789 and a quarter was your high, just about 830.
Joel, I do want to alert everyone. I am seeing a number of order imbalance halts on the NYSE right now. Agnico Eagle, UTX, Teradata, Disney, MasterCard shares just resumed a minute ago. Not sure what this is related to, but just wanted to alert traders. If anyone's trading UTX or MasterCard out there, you're going to see some funky action from the open.
Does it say which way the imbalances are going?
I don't see an indication, no.
Okay.
But I mean, it's a couple of big name companies. We got Disney, we got MasterCard. This is not something that's normal.
No, and especially because you got no news related to these stocks. We'll see. I mean, a lot of times, as Dennis could attest to this fact, a lot of times these imbalances, create opportunities
Absolutely.
here. Yep, and so that can even put more emphasis here on the opening print. This UTX had been holding some major support here at the 107, 108.70, 108.60 level. Things really opened down to at least 107 on that. So big selling balance, perhaps taking that through support. And then you mentioned Eco Mines.
Yeah,
right?
actually, this one just resumed just about 10 seconds ago. So you should see that one trade now.
Okay, we'll take a look at it from the daily. Must have had a little bit of a buy imbalance here, trading up here off that opening print. Perhaps a little bit of sympathy with the up gold move here. Gold is been sneaking up here. Did get a print over 1230, 1230.40. So weak market getting a little bit of a rally here in gold. AEM 2635 high, just kind of creeping up. If the buyer continues, no major resistance until you get to the high from Monday 2697. So have to keep an eye on the opening for that.
Yeah, and I guess these are gonna be halted until the specialists do their thing and sort of get things straightened out. Oh, look at this. Actually, I'm seeing Agnico shares halted again. Do you see that one stop trading, Joe? I don't see any
boy.
action in that one.
I guess we'll get the news tomorrow or later in the day. Let's take a look here at Amazon here. This stock just on a run here with the holiday season and all the drone talk. But let's just take a look here. Obviously, the stock just, even though I can't make any money, just continues to go higher. Joe, I take a real good level here for you. I believe that's Josiah. 383.10 was the low that you had in yesterday's trading. We got to 82.95. Got a nice bounce off that level. I got about a $3 bounce. So got a good level. If you're trying to protect profits on that on the long side, keep an eye on that 383 level. If it comes down there again, intraday or on a closing basis here, you do not have much support under that level. Below, it also a low at 82.61. So monster support at 82.60, 83 even. Look for the up move to continue in Amazon until that level's taken out, because you got about another 7-point drop down to the 375 level. Now, and I believe when this thing was trading up near 399, I predicted it was going to go to 400, and I got turned away. I got
$1.
Yeah, just $1 away. I guess someone else had that on their mind.
Yeah, that's all right, Joe.
But if you're looking to short it or looking to sell in the strength here, your high, you came way off the 399 high to a 390.95 high. Now 387.94 is a high in the session. So, I'd be looking for it next time, it gets back up to that 390 handle. Big high price stocks, I think you could start to see sellers in there. But if you're trying to hold on alongside, keep an eye on the 383 level.
Amazon did issue a release this morning. They were disclosing the launch of their Storyfront segment. But it looks like what traders are taking out of that release is Amazon says holiday shopping for the Kindle was, quote, the best ever. So I'm assuming that's why you're seeing a little bit of upside this morning.
Okay, J.C. Penney continues lower here. Hit that $10 mark. If blink of an eye there, it got to 965. We've been talking about that 962 level. So perhaps you need to be patient here to get Monday's low and the pre-market low. Hewlett Packard continues to rip to the upside. Kramer got this one right, at least on a short-term basis here. Gap and go, took out the size at 28. Wow. So that's, hey, 3D. And I'm going to, next time we get Bob Byrne and Tim Collins on, this was one stock that they had on their radar, and the only reason they had it on the radar was because they talked about getting into 3D printing.
Yep.
So, and we know what those 3D printing stocks have done. So Hewlett Packard moving into some uncharted waters here. Let's see if we can take a look at the monthly chart for this stock to see if we can find resistance, if we even want to find any resistance in this thing.
I think you got to go back to early 2012. Does that look right?
Yeah, you are correct, sir. What's going on in Twitter here? Dennis is piping in. Let's. What's going on? I don't know. Why don't you check Twitter to see what's going on in Twitter? Let's see what we got going on here. Twitter's ripping north. We'll go to our trusty Brent, see if you can find. Has there been any late upgrade here or anything?
I don't see anything. Kind of looks technical.
Okay.
I mean, I see a little tick at 42. It looks like a little resistance at 42, and then kind of broke through that and look out above.
Okay, let's see here. Spend a little time under 40 on a few sessions. Let's see what we can find out here. Twitter. Let's see. It has taken out that resistance point that we had. We had a high at 42.49 back on the 21st of the month. We have taken that up to 42.70. So I guess if you did catch this thing, look at that low tick, the opening print here, 41.27. Even Dennis could have taken some heat there if he would have bought the open at 41.27. I still a little skeptical. Buck 40 moved pretty quickly there. Holds 42.50. That was the old high. We can start to move up, but certainly no major resistance after this level till you get well into the 43 handle. Once again, if you're trading this, just check out the average $9 or $10 range for a potential target in the issue. Well, I didn't realize how late it was running
That's
here,
all right.
and
We were having fun.
Yeah, we got our
Time
meeting.
flies.
We got our important 9:45 meeting here to discuss all the good things we're going to have on tomorrow's show, folks. So thanks for joining us. Enjoy your trading day. We'll be back with you tomorrow.